We're back. I don't know how long it'll be turned. Nothing went off here, but that doesn't mean that something didn't happen somewhere out there. I mean, what I mean, the internet is a big thing, and something happened. I went through and reset everything back again because I think that other thing is still messing me up. Maybe that's what took me off the air. I don't know, but my phone showed I was still on. I don't know. Let me get my YouTube page up here. And this way I know if I'm still on the air. I think this is it right here. I think. Old Mack. Okay, chatting with him. Okay, chatting with him. Okay. Here we go. Okay, chatting with him. Okay. Here we go. Okay, chatting with him. Okay. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Don't want to wake my dog up. This way, when I see my phone goes bad, that means all of your guys' phone, your system went bad too. Slow charging. Oh, let's see if there's anybody show up. It's only been a minute and 21 seconds. They are one person in here. It might be Angelique. She watches my channel. There's my little dog. He's contented over by the door. He's a happy little critter. Well, my video shows I'm still on. Let me unplug this up here. What garbage, I ain't kidding you. I'll plug this in my battery in case power goes off here. I'll have, at least it'll be plugged into the battery down here. There she goes. Now she'll stay there and just hum away. Okay. Do we have anybody in here? Is anybody on now? I see. Oh yeah, here we go. Motor Bomb. Oh man, I'm glad you came back. Oh. I'm going to show you my little blade. It's sharp. Oh, you can see. Let me see. Turn that blade. I had a guy to make me a couple of knives. He was a knife builder from Vietnam, and he worked with me on my team. And he told me how he learned. Oh, I got a story. This thing, see, it's sharp on both edges, but I've never sharpened this up here. It's really sharp. But this one right here, I run it through my. I got a little electric thing. I used to have a good Arkansas stone, but this guy from Vietnam, he said he learned his trade. He would take American truck frames, and he'd cut the frames out, and he would take several layers, and he would make a Damascus So he made me when I lived there in Washington, he made me a really it was called it had a name. He had it engraved in Vietnamese. This one's got engraving too in it, but it was engraved in Vietnamese that what did it mean? It had a skull on it, and uh, he made this Damascus steel. He used steel from a tank frame, steel from a truck frame, steel from the springs, and he'd lay them up there and he'd forge them. And he made me one there at the company. That thing, oh my gosh, was it good! So I was down in. We had this thing take military personnel to fish, help them get over the trauma of the war. Oh yeah, he was really a master craftsman. Uh, I took these guys down to what we call Brown's Point. Brown's Point is a pier down there by where you launch your boat in, but great fishing. And I used to furnish all the tackle and stuff. And so there was a civilian guy had his kids there, and they were kind of rowdy boys, acting crazy and running around. And so the first one went over in my buddy's where he had his tackle stuff. Sergeant Blackburn. Sergeant Blackburn had told him a couple of times, stay out of the tackle box. There's real sharp treble hooks in there. And so and next thing you know, the boy's got the treble hook in the palm of his hand. And when it went in, the second barb now is locked in. As he tried to pull it, he got the second barb locked into his hand. A little old 9-year-old boy jumping up and down, squealing. And so Sergeant Blackburn, the daddy was panicked, but Blackburn was just out of combat and nothing panicked him. And Blackburn cut his hand, made a little incision there, a little cut, and got the shallow barb out, and then the big deep one, he backed it up and got the hook out there. And the little boy is squealing and hollering. Well, you think the daddy he had 3 boys. You think the daddy at that point would have moved his kids away from the soldiers so they could have peace of mind. And so it wasn't very long. My knife was laying there by my tackle box, the one that was made by my Vietnamese friend. I heard something beep. I don't know what that was. He picked my knife up, and I said, hey, be careful of that. It's very sharp. I spoke to him like I would speak to one of my kids, and the way you would want somebody to speak to your kids. I was polite with him, but I explained to him how sharp it was. Well, he started sticking it in the deck, and he'd throw it and stick it, throw it and stick it. And he got his daddy. He said, look, Daddy, look what I can do. And the boy was doing it pretty good, sticking it in the deck. And all boys like to do that. But when he called for his daddy, he took a couple of steps away from where he was standing. And when he went to flip it down in the deck, there was a huge nail head. And the point of that blade hit that nail head and ricocheted into the Puget Sound. And that was the end of that. So the soldiers asked the civilian daddy so they could have some peace and quiet to move his heathen zone up the pier a ways. And he did. I was glad to see him going. Sergeant Blackburn was a real good friend of mine. I kind of got him back functioning real good. And Sergeant Putney was from New York. Sergeant Putney was a little bit different case. He was more shattered. And but we got him to coming around. And one time we was in Sergeant Putney's microbus, a Volkswagen microbus. You've seen them? Those that's got the little windows along the edge of the roof, along the little curved glass up in the roof. We had just come off the old 101 that ran down the coast, and we'd got over to Olympia, Washington, and he merged into I-5, and it's a long grade up by Tomwater. I'm hoping we're still on there. Yeah, my phone's still working. So it was a long grade up through there. And about halfway up through, he was like shifted into third gear because it had that little 4-cylinder engine back in the back. Maybe it might have been 80 horsepower, maybe. Well, the little engine, I was sitting up in the middle seat. Sergeant Blackburn was back in the back, laying across the back seat. And the crankshaft in that little pancake engine, it broke in half, and part of the rods come up through the floorboard, and it came right up between where I was sitting and where Sergeant Blackburn was laying. And when Sergeant Putney I had another sergeant there with me, but I don't remember his name because he was like a guy that we didn't get around often. Blackburn and Putney both were they were regulars of mine. They loved deep sea fishing. And anyhow, by the time Putney wheeled that thing over to the side, Sergeant Blackburn came over into that second row and out that side door and was rolling down off the freeway. Hello, Jim Reynolds. Glad to see my system still working. He rolled down the hill, and and where they just come from, it was a life and death situation on making split-second decisions. And we laughed so hard. And it was hot, scalding. The oil came up through there, and it was all on the inside there. And we all had oil dripping on us. And so we get back there, and he was broken good. And we were standing there, and a couple old boys in a pickup truck from Fort Lewis, Washington, they come rolling in. These boys didn't know them, but they were also soldiers. And we hitched a ride. We all crawled into the back of the truck, and we left his micro bus down there on I-5. He went back and got it. He brought it out to my place. We put a new engine in the thing. We had a nice shop, and he came out there and he put an engine in. And I made a lot of really. Oh, Sergeant Blackburn. He was trying to get back with his wife while he was in Vietnam. She had found a fellow that she loved more than she did him, and he'd been going down there and seeing her, and so finally he talked her into coming up to spend the night at my place with me and my family. And we went out, and oh my gosh, I thought they was going to make a go of it, but time morning rolled around, the anger had built up in old Sergeant Blackburn about, well, he felt like he was betrayed because she'd found another lover while he was in combat. And that happens, young woman. They have to go over and stay a year, and that's hard on a young relationship. I know. So anyhow, I went with him down there because he wanted me to be with him in case his father-in-law, lived right next door where she was staying with this guy that she fell in love with. and Blackburn wanted to go down there and give her one last chance. I thought there was going to be trouble, but it ended up good. He realized that he was going, he was barking up the wrong tree. That woman no longer had any cure for him. She was a good looking woman. But oh my gosh, we did so many things together. They lived out at my place. I mean, what I'm saying, they were stationed over at Fort Lewis. But after they found that we had a lot of things in common, yep, they'd stay out there, and I had a lot of land there on my place, and they had plenty of place to bed down. I had a 5-bedroom house, and anyhow, my son Donald, he remembers when all the soldiers used to come out there and load ammunition at my house. I was a kind of an avid gun guy. Back in those days, I was really serious about my guns, and so they'd bring me 308s and 5.56 and all the stuff. He'd bring me a lot of ammunition, old spent shells, and we'd reload them and take the primers out. A lot of that old military stuff ain't worth the crap. It's got those real corrosive primers in them. But we would put non-corrosive primers when we'd clean them. My kids used to have all different kinds of jobs they did. They would tumble the brass. They loved tumbling the brass because it made noise. Jim Reynolds, how in the heck are you? Oh, hell, I'm froze up. Goddamn piece of garbage. I guess I'm moving. There's my hand. It must be bad. Oh, man, I thought I was gone again. Well, a while ago, everything went off. I'm glad you come back because you got to see my little knife. I've had that for a long time. Everything I have has a story to it. And there's Dave. I'm hoping that our signal stays good there, Dave. I listened to your beautiful music this morning. You done it, I guess, earlier before I was messing around here on my stuff, and I got a chance to catch up on it. It takes a lot of talent to be able. Well, Motorbahn Virginia knows that it takes lots of talent. Looks like I'm functioning good here. I'm checking the bandwidth and all that stuff. I know it happened earlier. I think what I'm having is now you ain't gonna see no spooling now because it won't be. There's no buffer in here now because I've just checked the bandwidth here and I'm running uploads of 35 megabits a second. To make a good contact on live, you need at least 5. 10's better, 20's better, but I'm at 35. Yeah, it should be a lot better now. I think that program I put in here today to control some of the features of my live broadcast, I think it was interfering with it because when I went to go out of it a while ago, that damn thing came back up again. That program I put in, and even though I went over there and deleted it out of my system, I just didn't delete the icon. I went into my settings and deleted it. And You can never tell about this stuff. The reason I'm doing a lot of testing before I go live on anybody else's channel, I want to make sure that I will be representing. Well, Dave, did you get a chance, Dave, to go riding today? Still waiting. Jim, I lived in Seattle for 40 years, and before they had even a football team, they got an expansion team, and they call it the Seahawks. And I watched them go all through the years. They built a special Kingdom Stadium for them. And oh, it's wet over in Australia today. Oh, I got to see the eye doctor. So we waited for the expansion team to get developed, and they become a full-fledged team. And of course, they won a national championship. And when you live in the Northwest, when there's nothing else, if you lived in Dallas, you know, got Denver right up there, Denver Broncos. You got the Cowboys. You got every which way you turn, right over there in Atlanta, you got the Atlanta Braves. You got, no, what do they call them? Atlanta. Anyhow, you got a lot of teams. Tennessee Titans, if they're still a team, I don't know. Oh, Atlanta Falcons, that's true. I couldn't think of it first. I remember the Braves, Ted Turner owned it. Well, your music is from the soul, and you can't get any purer than that. I like that little device that you use for getting the sounds that you're looking for. I know you're hearing what you're doing, and you're looking for those notes. You're in there sliding around to get the notes that pleases you, that makes you feel that you're going in the right direction. And I don't know what you call that little device, but you seem to know how to use it. It's hot, 78 degrees. It's going to be really warm this weekend. We just finally finalized the plans with Ray coming over, and sound like Katie Bug is coming with him. That'll be a fun ride, and we'll have fun. You know, you don't even have to do nothing. Oh, that's what the instrument's called. Well, you seem to know what you was doing with it. I think we're going to start off with lunch, because that's a long run. And so we'll get our lunch, and then as we're traveling along in some of these little old towns, we might pull in and get us a Dr. Pepper, a ROC Coca-Cola, and a Big Moon Pie. That's what Southerners eat. That's a ROC Coca-Cola and a Big Moon Pie. I like pecan pies. You can buy them at any convenience store. They're called Bama pies. Oh, moon pies. I like moon pies. But the Bama pie are made out of their pecans and a lot of molasses and stuff. Woo, they're so good. I buy the little small ones over at the Piggly Wiggly, and occasionally I'll have one of them and some milk. If I've been out working and I've burned up a lot of energy, I will come in and do that, and keeps me going. Yeah, it looks like she's still working. Well, I just saw myself picking the phone up, so there might be a lag in there. I don't know. Yeah, the Piggly Wiggly. We've got a bunch of chain stores here. Of course, you do too. In the old days, Motormont, Virginia, tell you we had the A&P store, the Piggly Wiggly. We still have the Piggly Wiggly. Um, Kroger's is still around. Safeway. Um, there's so many, and of course, then when Walmart started taking over, they began to put out a lot of people out of business, a lot of little businesses, and but Piggly Wiggly has held her own. But it's a country thing. I think people like. I like to shop at the Piggly Wiggly. When I go to Piggly Wiggly in Dora, Alabama, the guy gives me 10 or 15 pounds of meat that he saves up for me. I ain't talking about being sitting there under the counter. He keeps it in the freezer, and he cuts it back. And when he'll leave some of the meat on the bone and stuff, and I'll bring it home and I'll boil it, and I put rice with it, and I feed that to my dog. He loves it, and there'll be a lot of meat left on the bone sometimes, and I'll take them out there and put them in the pan. And the raccoons will eat every bite. Them bones will be polished by morning. Them little old hands will pull that meat off them bones. There was a bunch of them out here a while ago, Dave. The raccoons were out on the back porch. I make sure I'm still working. It looks like I am. Yeah, I can see there's a lag between my phone. I keep worrying about that thing now. Yeah, it's an old store. I like their meat. They cut fresh meat. Now, out in the Midwest, when I was in the Midwest, they had the IGA stores. And when I got down to Alabama, we had an IGA store in Warrior, and it went under. And we had Food Giant and quite a few others, but old old Piggly Wiggly is still holding its own against the big super giant like Walmart. And they have a really good deli there too. Do you have a lot of small shops in Australia, Dave, or do you have big chains, chain grocery stores all across? You could go in any town in Australia and you're going to run across these big stores. I'm talking about grocery stores, food markets. Um, One thing they do down here, they eat a lot. Everybody. Hell, look. That's solid. That's solid meat right there. Oh yeah, you heard? Yeah, all them old stores, the A&P. I tell you what, my favorite store was when I was young. My favorite store was the Rexall drugstore. And the Rexall drugstore, they had two things I really loved dearly. They had a milkshake at the Rexall drugstore, and they had like a soda jerk guy that would make milkshakes and stuff. And the other thing is, if you had a 620 Brownie camera, you had to go get your 620 film. You had to. Everybody had the Instamatics later, but in the early days, you had the big wide film, and you had to open that big door in the back, and put the big roll in there, and stretch it across there, and wind it up, crank it. That's where all your pictures were developed. At the Rexall drugstore in the early years. They handled all Kodak products. They had the market cornered. Am I working? Let me see. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4. Yeah, it's working. Woolsworth, Dave. Woolsworth is, when we was kids, you could go to Birmingham to Woolsworth, and you could get for 55 cents what they call a blue plate special. Now, that was during my day. It was less than that during my daddy's day. But at Woolsworth, they had a cafeteria inside Woolsworth, and you could get a 55-cent blue plate special. Came with meatloaf or a piece of chicken or a pork chop, some sliced ham, mashed potatoes, heavy on the mashed potatoes and butter. And but they served big old portions back in them days, because they just felt like back in them days, people they demanded to have a big bang for their buck. Yeah, we've had a lot of little grocery stores. I had this lady, her and her husband. I worked for her husband. His name was Lonnie Thomas, and his wife. They had a grocery store, but he also had some over-the-road trucks, and he started me out on an old white truck. The company was called White. I believe it was like a 28. Oh yeah, Woolsworth, Five and Dime. Um, we had a store in Birmingham called Pizzitz, and it had a really good deli in it too. And uh, yeah, we used to love to go to Birmingham because the food was plentiful, and times are so good up here in Birmingham. We saw Birmingham as being like a big city. And boy, was I ever surprised when I left Birmingham and I went to the West Coast on a Greyhound bus, a scenic cruiser. Hey, sick. I did talk to Ray a while ago, and we got everything worked out what we're going to do Saturday. That's right. That's a long time ago. There were so many things that, well, the things that has gone away that has never to come back again. I'm sure we had when we was young was roller rinks. You could go to the roller rink, and the kind of the roller skates they had. You put them on your shoe, you turn the key, and it clamped down on your shoe, and yeah, roller skating. We loved that. They'd play that loud music, and we would whip around there. We get on the end of a whip, 8 or 10 old boys. And if you got stuck out on the end out there, next thing you know, your feet would be in the air and you would just be floating. And hello, American Outlaw. Yeah, the Five and Dime. Oh, Olivia Newton. Oh, hell yes. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if our good music is gone. There's a lot of good songs out there now, but the kind of stuff that I guess we fell in love with, yeah, like Grease. Um, I like I like that Nancy Sinatra and Lee Hazelwood and red wine. No, it was it red wine. Summer wine. Oh, summer wine. Lee Hazelwood and Nancy Sinatra. They did summer wine, and I have drunk so much wine, and I have woke up not even know where I was at. That wine would just make your brain go away. We used to drink Mad Dog 2020 and what was that other one? Tokay. Oh, there's my little. Speaking of Tokay, there's what was your nickname we used to call it? Chardonnay. Here comes Chardonnay. Y'all want to say hello to Chardonnay? Come right over here and say hello to the boys. Say the boys are in here. Come right over here, baby. Right over here so you can sit down to make yourself at home. I'll lean back here.
What's the next discussion topic about?
Oh, we're talking about old days and the kind of stuff that we had in the old days, the food. There's Sick Bastard is in here. Dave is in here. Eric. Oh, my God. I had a friend that could do the House of the Rising Sun.
That is a good song. I will give it that.
Yeah, it really was good.
I didn't know it was by a bunch of
Eric Bergman and the Animals. We went down to his house, my son and I did, and this guy had all of his instruments out, and he played the House of the Rising Sun for us. It was awesome. You remember all the good ones, don't you, Dave? See, we're informal tonight. See, no socks. What, you get all your shows done?
I got it on Baywatch right now. I'm watching Vintage Baywatch.
You're watching Baywatch?
Vintage Baywatch.
Oh, is that the one that's got the...
Not the crappy movie. No. The one with the Hoff.
No, the Baywatch. David Hasselhoff,
yeah.
Right? And what was her? Don't
Pam Anderson?
I didn't want you to tell me Pamela Anderson. I wanted to envision her running on the beach.
Watch it on. Go to Roku and watch it that way.
Well, I'd rather have it inside my head. It's much better in your head, than the real thing.
Right.
Is my phone working? Oh yeah, her hand's moving, so I see it is working. And that's why I can verify if I'm still on the air or not. Oh man, look at what a great career he had. And then you remember all that crap that, when the media started riding on people, the old Hoff, he had to go back to Germany to escape a lot of the crap that was going on. Things that.
Well, don't forget he was a huge rock star in Germany too.
Oh yeah, he was a rock star in Germany. The Hoff was.
Remember he performed on the Berlin Wall.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't.
You got a better memory than I do.
I only remember because I've seen it on TV.
Hey, look at what a trio right here. The little Nugget over there.
Nugget.
And there's my little buddy right back
He's
over
the
there.
Nugget.
Oh, coming out of that bottle there, American Outlaw, what was it? Not Barbara Eden, wasn't it?
Who?
The genie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barbara Eden. Yeah. Oh, some of the stuff they got involved in. It was so funny. Really well written.
Don't forget Bewitched.
Yeah, that's Montgomery, Elizabeth Montgomery, yeah. Bewitched. I like that show. There were some really good shows. I used to like that. the show Maud. You remember Maud? But that other lady.
I think I've only watched it like once or twice. So
Maud was the other lady. She was really.
Was she that woman that was on the Golden Girls?
Maud was the one on Golden Girls.
B. Arthur?
Huh?
B. Arthur?
No, B. Arthur was on the Golden Girls, but the woman that was on Maud, I think it played Maud's daughter. Oh, what a wholesome woman she was.
Adrienne Barbeau?
Adrienne Barbeau, that's it.
Like I said, I've only seen it a couple times, but I recognize it. I know the names.
See, how it works here is I get an idea and she completes the sentence.
Remember, Adrienne Barbeau was in Swamp Thing.
Yeah, my hand's moving. I'm still alive. I Love Lucy. Fred and Ethel Mertz they was on Jackie Gleason, The Honeymooners. Yeah.
Did they play Fred and Ethel?
Huh?
Did they play Fred and Ethel?
Yeah, Fred and Ethel on The Honeymooners. Yeah, they played The Honeymooner, and them two could not stand it. Old Fred Mertz, he was a landlord, and she could not stand him. Oh, there was a hell of a feud going on all the time. And she showed up at his funeral when he passed on.
I guess even though they may not like each other, they.
And that's like B. Arthur, sweet old Aunt B. Oh Lord, everybody loved Aunt B, but she couldn't get along with anybody.
Aunt B was a recluse at San Juan.
I can name you. I bet you I can still name you all the characters there on Bonanza. But my favorite was Hoss and Little Joe and Adam. And Hop Sing. Hop Sing was my favorite employee. And you had the guy, the blacksmith that worked down there.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, Bonanza. That was Little Hoss was always Petticoat Junction.
Never watched that one.
That was a good one. And I liked Green Acres is the place to be.
Wait, Jasha or
Huh?
Is that Jasha or Ava?
I don't know. One of the Gabors.
They look like twins.
Yeah, I know, but
I know the show. I just
Mr. Ziffel, he had a pig, Arnold.
Arnold the pig. Yeah, I remember Arnold the pig.
Yeah, Green Acres. Yeah, I was singing the song. The Green Acres is a place to be far from the city. I love that little show. They had some of the interesting characters there, and everybody knew that the hog Arnold could speak, but he wouldn't talk on camera.
Don't forget Mr. Ed. He could talk.
Mr. Ed, he could talk.
He didn't like Wilbur.
Well, him and Wilbur had some problems.
He had some beef.
And when the Beverly Hillbillies made it to Los Angeles, oh, you just said it. You said Beverly Hillbillies just as I come out with it. Granny and old Jim. Yeah, I used to know all the words to that song. About the bubbling crew. Up come the ground, the bubbling crew. Texas tea. And Alf, that guy was a ham radio operator, the human. And when Alf showed up, the only problem of Alf had is he liked to eat a cat occasionally.
You were just talking about that on the TV earlier.
Oh, there's so many good jokes about venomous snake bites. There's a lot of good jokes. Angelique, now this is adult humor, so
okay, I'm going to go back to Baywatch.
All right.
Back to California I go.
Might be better off if you just get on up out of here. Come back when you grow up.
That'll be never. I refuse to grow up.
She's rebelling against growing up. remember all the Lone Ranger and Tonto jokes. Lone Ranger was in a hell of a gun battle. And so Lone Ranger says to Tonto, he said, go to town and go to town and bring me a posse. And so he takes off, and when he comes back, he had 2 blondes with him. He said, I don't know what your problem is, but you're not hearing me. I go to town and bring back a posse. Well, this time he come back with blondes and brunettes. And the Lone Ranger said, I won't give you one last chance. We're fixing to be overrun by these hostiles. Go to town and bring back a posse. And she's out of ear range there. So finally, when he comes back the last time, he's pretty well wore out, riding back and forth to town under all that gunfire. And he pulled Tonto over close to him, and he said, I said, bring back a posse. That'll jump. Well, nobody left, so I guess I didn't run anybody off. Tonto misunderstood him. The Lone Ranger and Tonto was laying up in the tent, and he was looking up, and the Lone Ranger was doing some philosophical talk, and he said, can you imagine the stars out there? And when you look up, you see all the millions of stars, and you look up and you see the shooting stars. And if you look a little bit longer, you see Aurora Borealis, and then you see constellations. Do you know what all that means, Tonto? Tonto said, yeah, Kemosabe, somebody stole our tent. Yay. Those are long range. See, those were really good in the 40s. We never missed a Batman and Robin episode. And to the Bat Pole. Yeah, we had such great TV shows back in the days. I like George Jefferson. Moving on up to the east side, I liked that one. They had that Dynamite. Oh, what in Tennessee? Same as Arkansas. There's millions of those old jokes, about our favorite characters back in them days. And yeah, we talked about this once before. We was kind of amazed when Superman came onto the scene. He was the Man of Steel, and so they'd always start out the series. We'd have what's called a series of like a 20-minute long Superman movie. And they'd always start out, the bad guy would pull his gun out and he'd shoot 5 times or 6 times, and the bullets bing, 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 bouncing off in his chest. And Superman stood there with his chest out and the bullets just bouncing off of him. But when he threw the gun at him, Superman always ducked you. I guess you'd have to be there. We watch a lot of British TV right now today. Angelique, she's been watching this series uh, about the vicar of Dibley. Dibley, I think it is. The vicar of Dibley, a little hamlet over in England, the Dibley, and and the women they're always getting in trouble and trying to hide secrets from the vicar. Jacques Labour. I think I grew up kind of hating the French when I came up because of the Foreign Legion movies we used to watch, and they'd make them march endless hours and across deserts, and we'd be just parched. Time they get across the desert, we'd just be wore out. Crocodile Dundee and I like that Urban, that guy Steve Urban. You know, I mean, it's unfortunately he got himself killed, but he had a lot of guts. He wasn't afraid of nothing. One time we was down there in Florida at a place where they had they had a place where you could go down and visit these 15-foot sharks. And they also, in this same tour, they had the sharks in a cage. But what they did is two guys would stand next to you. You was down 30 feet deep, and two guys would come and they would stand next to you, and they had these electric poles to make sure the shark didn't charge you and bite you. He could sting him with that electric pole, and so they let the sharks out, and they come circle around us, and he ordered them up and got them back in. That was pretty exciting. But then they carried us on down to where the one that killed Steve Irwin, these manta rays, these stingrays. They got like an 8 foot long tail on them, a big barb on the end. And so my niece and I was first one they queued us up. Me and her was to go in. She was to go in on one side, and I was going to go in the other. We both had our GoPro cameras mounted. So we go down, and laying down in the bottom was an 8 foot stingray. He was laying in the sand. He was all covered in the sand. Well, my niece is really brave, and she went down and she touched the stingray, and it flapped its big wings when it came up out of the sand. And when it swam, he was kind of like sideways. And when he sliced down through there, he drug his tail between my legs. I'm talking about a big, rough tail. It's, it left a creepy feeling, let me tell you. I don't know if I saw the one, Bendy and Robert. Is that the kids? He had kids, children. Yeah, I guess they must be carrying on. Yeah, I've seen them. They've now grown up. And I think his wife is still actively involved in things. It was a lot of really good shows. I liked Highway Patrol Chips. Um, I liked, what was that on? I liked, way back a long time ago. I used to like 77 Sunset Strip. 77 Sunset Strip. That's Cookie Eddie Burns. He was always combing his ducktails. And they had quite a little story, Eddie Burns. And Bronson, A Man Called Bronson. I liked his show. I see I'm really old, so I remember a lot of them that you guys probably got to see in rerun. Car 54, yeah. Um, that old big tall thin one, and Duraman. I'm sorry, and Duraman. Good to see you. Welcome to our little chat, little hot night chat. This is Thirsty Thursday, but Old Mac is not going to be thirsty. He's got a, I'm drinking grape Kool-Aid. Yeah. Yeah, grape Kool-Aid. That tall guy on car 54, he went on to be more famous than the other guy. What was his name? And it was some really good thought up show. And one Adam 12, um, uh, two budget. I think they drove the number 12 car. It was a cop car. Herman Munster. That's right. That's who he turned out to be. Herman Munster. Yeah. Yeah. What a good show. They lived on. I think Herman Munster, didn't he live at 1313 Mockingbird Lane? They had some really neat cars there. The Munsters did. Oh, hang on, Ann. Let me do that. I'm so sorry. Hang on. Don't go away now. Let me make this up to you. I made yours as a metric. You get a metric wrench on you. There you go. You can do some adjusting with your metric wrench. I hope I didn't. Did I turn the thing off? Hell, I think is it moving? Hello. Yep, it's moving. Wait a minute. How come your name don't have a wrench beside of it? Let me see what's going wrong here. Let me do it again. No. Okay. No, you should have a wrench. It says you've got one. Well, I don't know why it wouldn't let me give you one. But I did give you one. Oh, message deleted by I didn't delete you. What the hell? Please save whatever it is. Oh, there you are. You're in good shape there. Sometimes I don't understand, a lot of this crap don't mean anything to me. Oh, you leaving us, Dave? I love everybody but got to do things today. Have a wonderful. Oh, that's right. Your eyes. Oh man, I hope it works out for you. They get you all fixed up there. Oh, that's what I did. I must have fat fingered it there or something or other. Dave, I'm looking forward. I'm going to do a morning. I wasn't going to do this tonight, but I had some settings and I want to make sure they was going to work and they didn't. So I had to take all that crap out. And then everybody was patient and they waited for me to come back. But I was going to do coffee with Old Mack and Angelique in the morning. maybe start because early in the morning there's not a lot of nets going on, not a lot of live feeds or whatever. And I thought I'd do one having coffee with me and Angelique. Oh, and from the Philippines. Okay. We have some history with the Philippines. We have a daughter-in-law that's a Filipino lady. No, I've never been there. I've supported the groups. One of the boys there married a Filipino lady in 1980 when Mount Pinatubo, no, 1990 when Mount Pinatubo blew up. They had gotten married, and they put her on the aircraft carrier Nimitz and brought her back to Bremerton, Washington. And so she got to ride over on the aircraft carrier because she was married, to a sailor. I like lumpia, finger food. Oh, I love lumpia. I can't get enough of them. We used to have football games, and Faye, she would make big platter full of lumpia, and I'm sure I'm not saying it correctly. Lumpia. I thought it was an LU, but it's a little finger food. It's got, yeah, that's it right there, lumpia. That's what she would, when she spoke Tagalog or whatever, and I didn't understand what she's saying, but yeah, the crunchy ones, deep fried. Oh, they were so good. You take beer and lumpia, and you can make a meal out of them. The Filipino ladies, they know how to make finger food beyond a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, when football season was on, she knew how much food she had to make because we was big eaters, and she enjoyed what she did. She was really good, very fast, very efficient, and yeah, it was most enjoyable. And there's a lot of foods that she fixed that I truly loved, and I didn't know all the names of it. A lot of different stuffed things had crab meat and various other things stuffed in it, and she was a most excellent cook. Well, we saw last night that Miss EB, that she works in China, adobo, DOBABO. It sounds good. I ain't met. I don't think I've ever met any Filipino food that I didn't like. Oh, but Miss EB, she's going back to the Philippines next year. She's retiring, and she's already making her plans to return to the Philippines. She put in her 20 years out there, and now she's going to go back to the Philippines and live a life of leisure. I I have had a urge um, in the last 10 years to travel to Southeast Asia and go through the Philippines. All of my kids, all of my boys have been in the Philippines. Some of them were stationed there in the Philippines back in the 80s and the 90s. And all my relatives from World War II, they used to go into the Philippines. There was, of course, a war going on, and they had a reason to be there. Um, yeah, we have a lot of history with the Philippines. With the Filipino people, we have a lot of history. I think of the people, the immigrants that comes into our country, I think they're probably the most favored people. They're very lovable people. They don't come in and start trouble right off the bat. They actually add to the society, and they bring with them um, a lot of love and passion. I don't think you ever take the heart of a lady that comes into America, take the Philippines out of her heart. It always remains forever, man and woman. I'm just telling you how I see things. I lived in Bremerton. I lived over by Bremerton, which is a big naval base in Washington for 40 years, and we have communities of Filipino people that live in the Seattle Puget Sound area, and they're well. They have adapted well to the cold, wet climate of Seattle. I lived and worked there for 40 years, and I've been down here for 29 years. So, well, I tell you, it's not fun to travel like it used to be. And my wife and I wanted to go to Australia, and we wanted to take and go down and stay. We wanted to have it professionally guide us through Australia, and I've got a lot of people, friends that I communicate with right here on the internet, and they live in Indonesia. And I've been watching them over there. They've been building a highway on a very dangerous hillside over there. There's been landslides and stuff. And they just keep building, building, and building. And it looks like they're pretty well going to have a nice road soon. I got friends that live in Thailand, and they've invited me to come to Thailand, but I'm just not into traveling overseas with all the things that's going on in the world. Um, they live in Petawa. They live near the beach of Petawa in Thailand, and it is beautiful. Um, I guess it would be beautiful until a big tsunami came and washed you away. But uh, yeah, I like Petawa, the city. I like the beach. I had, and at one time in a position I had with this very large company, I had a lot of Asian people on my team. We had one fellow that was a Korean, and he was a mathematic professor in Korea, and his expertise was computer science, and he was on my team. And then I had a guy from Vietnam that what was his name? His name was Thieman Pham from Vietnam, and the name Thieman is not a real name. He gave himself the name Thieman. He worked for the U.S. military, And after the country fell, to get into America, he had to have a sponsor. And they said, well, what is your name? And he had a name that most people could not pronounce in English. And he looked up on the wall in this Red Cross building, and they had an advertisement for the man. It was the man, Theman, and he just left out the space and made it Theman. And he was known as Theman Pham. And he got to come to America, and he was quite a valuable asset to us. He was with us on a lot of our projects that we worked with. I'm a military guy that worked for the government as a civilian contractor for the government, but I only did military. Had a really good laugh. I really enjoyed. I enjoyed my laugh. Oh yeah, we wear a lot of. We have a lot of kids that was in the military. All of my boys, all my sons was in the military, and I wear a lot of camouflage BD. You know, just I feel comfortable in them. I can go out here and go. I live in a jungle. We got a jungle out here in the back, and I can go wade into the jungle with BDUs. These ain't BDUs here, but I got BDUs over there. You know, that's like a working pants for doing hard labor. It's really heavy duty. They don't tear. You can't rip them. You might cut a little hole in them, but they don't rip. They're really good. I have a lot of them. I wear a lot of BDUs. It's just something I've always did because all my family was in the military. I was in a military academy, and then I went into the Army. And then when I got my time up, I went to this company and worked with them, doing the things that they did, and I enjoyed it. Well, I heard the train whistle blow again, so it's after 9 o'clock. And I want you to come back to my channel anytime. You don't have to subscribe to me, and you don't have to do nothing, but just remember Old Mack. Come back in and visit with us. Tell us why you don't do any out of the country traveling. You have reasons, I'm sure. And come back and join us. There's usually a pretty good bunch. I have a bunch of really. We're Harley Davidson motorcycle riders. See right here. Let me show you. You'll see what we are. This group that you're talking with, we ride the Harley Davidson. And all of us, everyone in here rides a motorcycle. All the guys that come in here that was in here a while ago, Sick, he rides a Harley. Dave rides a Harley. Motorbomb. You don't have to ride a Harley to be a part of our group, as long as you're a bike rider. And that's how we got this whole thing started. And we all know each other from our motor blogging. We ride down the highway and talk on the GoPro. And yeah, Motorbomb is a superhuman being. He helped me out a lot. You may have gathered I'm a really old guy. Really old guy. And sometimes old guys need just a little. I needed some information on how to set up my motovlogging helmet so I could talk into my GoPro, and he told me everything I needed to have. And then I asked him how to set up a live feed, and he told me what to get, and I've got that. And anytime I need any information, I turn to him. Sick knows a whole lot of stuff. Well, everybody knows more than me. I'm an old guy. I ain't supposed to know much. I don't know a whole lot. Oh, it's 10 in the morning. Do you have to go to work? Am I holding you up? Oh, you're going to go live at 1 p.m. Okay. Uh, uh, I will probably sign off. Oh, there. See. Well, Old Mac has been around for a while. You look over there. You look at that little guy over there. See my little dog over there? He's older than I am in dog years, and I'm 84 years old. So not a lot of people take time to talk with an old person. They go, hell, I don't want to listen to that old man. He'll tell the same story over and over. I will, and can I find you by looking up your name here, and I will come and visit you. Yeah, my little dog, he's my best little buddy. Me and him, I bought a new Mustang GT, and me and him, I put him in the car with me. I made him a special place for him to lay. It's a GT, so it's got a shifter and everything right here. I made a place for my dog to lay, and that dog and I, we traveled over 40,000 miles, just me and him. We went 40,000 miles in that Mustang, just me and the dog. I've been retired 29 years, coming up on 30. So I will say good evening to you. And like I say, please come back and I will look you up. And I hope you have a nice live event, today. It is so nice. We have this group here that have the biking thing in common. Oh, look at this. Hey, look at who I'm still talking with. I'm still talking of Ann. Oh, let me tell you what I fixed for lunch today, Motorbum. I went in there and peeled these big russet potatoes, and then I sliced them on the mandolin, just perfect slices. And I put them over there in my big cooker and with peanut oil and started them frying. And then I folded in, I took and diced up Virginia ham. And I threw that diced Virginia ham over there, and I put about 2 tablespoons of onion flakes. And when all that was cooking, right at the end, right when the potatoes were all just about done and everything, I reached in the refrigerator and got a jar of quesos, jalapeno quesos cheese. I don't know if you like crackers and quesos, but it's really delicious. And I scooped that jalapeno cheese down into the fried potatoes and ham, and it looked like a casserole. It looked like a breakfast thing, It had ham, potatoes, and cheese. Bye bye, Ann. Have a good evening. Au gratin. That is right. Potatoes au gratin. When, one time, my brother, when I got home, he said, "What did we had an Aunt Ethel, and she was a great cook." And he said, "What did Aunt Ethel cook today?" He didn't get to go with me. And I said, "Taters all rotten." I said it in a joke, but when we went later, my aunt met up with us a month or two later, and she said, "Robert said the funniest thing." And I said, "What did he say?" And she said, "He said you came over to the house and Aunt Ethel served rotten potatoes." Potatoes all rotten. And oh yeah, with the cheese and the quesos and the ham. Oh, and here's what I had over there. The other pot, I made some cream corn, but I put bacon grease in that bacon dripping from this morning's I put bacon grease in there. Oh, that was so good. And maybe a little bit of, I like to put a little white pepper. It's really finely ground, and you can put a little of that over there, and it just goes all through the corn. You don't have to use as much. And yeah, I cook steak with white pepper. First of all, it don't make me sneeze when I'll while after you turn it over, after you braise it on one side, you turn it over. I like to put the black pepper on it. And me and her both likes our steak a little bit on the pinker side, and we don't like shoe leather, but each to their own. Well, hey, Motorbomb, I'm gonna. Oh, oh yeah, we got one of them crack. Oh yeah. Uh, my wife used to put peppercorns on the roast, and I found some the other day up in the cabinet. I was afraid to use them. I think they expired 5 years ago, but I don't know if a peppercorn ever gets too old or not. But she'd put them peppercorns on it, and every once in a while you'd get a piece of that pot roast that had a peppercorn in it. Oh, that was so damn good. If you was lucky enough to get one with a peppercorn in it, um, you have some good eating right there. My friend Ed, that comes on here from Val-d'Or, Canada, I sent him habaneros, roasted habaneros, in a sealed container. And you had to stand back. When you open that container, it would take your breath and it would burn you 10 feet away. It was very potent. But he would crumble up the some of that habanero in her Brunswick stew. I would have driven all the way to Val-d'Or, Quebec, just to get a bowl of that Brunswick stew. I do like a good stew. I've had bear stew. I don't know if you've ever eaten a cougar before, but I've eaten a cougar. You go, why in the hell would you eat a cougar? Well, they killed a cougar. It was about a 140 pounder. It had frightened their horses and stuff, and it was trying to take a horse down, and so they killed it. And you just don't kill meat and leave it lay. They dressed it out, and we ate the backstrap off the cougar, and we ate quite a bit of the cougar, and it was good. Am I froze up again? Hello, wake up. Are you moving? Shows the little guy, he's still awake. Oh, the meat was tender because we only used the back strap along the back of the spine, and we cut some flank steaks off in his hind quarters. And we had a German lady, Vida. She cooked it for us, and she cooked it in a German style. The Germans, they like to put a little seasoning in their stuff, and she had experienced eating when she lived over in Europe. She had eaten cougar or eaten cat, not kitty cat, but she had eaten. There's big cats up by Russia, up by Norway, Finland, and there are some of those uh, like snow leopards or whatever, and they would hunt them and eat them just like meat. It was good. I got to say this. There's no slick, meaty taste, or it is not as coarse as bear meat. Bear meat is pretty coarse. Um, yeah, oh yeah, it's only the very tenderest of fillet, and she did on that back strap. It was about that big around. The back strap was, and she cut it in butterfly cuts, sliced it and then sliced all the way down, and she cooked them in butter like a butterfly, but she cooked them in some seasoning that she put there, and the flanks. Now she did a really good job on them. That's where the major portion of the meat come from. Only us, the immediate family, me and Lee, her husband, and one other guy was able to eat the flank, and the rest we ate the tenderloin, and the others eat the flank. I eat some of the flank too. I prefer the tender. I guess that almost everybody does because that's where just really the best meat comes from. Well, Motorbomb, let me say good evening to you. Um, I think my son's probably going to call me when he gets off work. My son, he spoke with me last night for a little bit, and maybe we'll get a chance to talk tonight. But you have a good evening. Me and we got it all worked out with Ray. We're going to meet up Saturday, and Miss Katie's coming with him, so we're going to have a good ride and good eats. It'll be a good time had by all. Well, with that, we're going to say good evening and take care, man. You do so much for so many people, and it certainly is not going to go unappreciated from me. And there should be a lot of videos coming out of our little ride, and it's a big ride. It's we're covering a lot of territory, but it'll be a lot of fun, and you'll get to enjoy it by just riding along with us. Good night there, Motorbomb, Virginia, Mr. Dean.